2, 1.
Boom! And welcome to the Big Honker Podcast, brought to you by Ducks Unlimited. I'm Jeff Stanfield with the world famous Andy Shaver.
Great people up there. Ducks Unlimited figure out a way to get involved, and their trip auctions are live right now. Or no, I think it's over with. I screwed that up.
Well, way to go, Andy. I am so excited about today. I am a collector of cheap shit because I don't have a lot of money, but this man deals with the most awesome waterfowl stuff in the world. Guns, decoys, you name it, waterfowl hunting, any kind of heritage, old stuff. Mr. Jon Deeter with Guyette and Deeter. John, how are you doing, sir?
I'm great. Andy, Jeff, thanks for having me back. I really enjoyed our podcast we did a couple years ago, and look forward to talking to you today.
So y'all got a gun auction coming, right?
We do, September 11 and 12. Yeah, and that's a new business for us. We launched it 3 years ago. We do 2 sporting arms sales a year now. The next sale, which is, again, September 11th, 12th, is a 2-day auction. There's about 600 guns in there, and the guns are mostly long guns, sort of high art and collectible shotguns and rifles. Then we have some custom-made knives, cutlery, artwork, some duck decoys, and actually even some watches. So again, it's sort of our vision of the sporting life, and it's things we're passionate about, things we know about, things we just love dealing with. And the catalog came together awesome. I'm so proud of our team, and yeah.
What kind of watches we looking at?
We got a couple Rolex, a Patek, and a Tudor in this sale.
What Rolexes?
There's a Wimbledon and I believe it's a Datejust.
Oh, shit. I'm not that good of a Rolex guy. I don't know what a Wimbledon is.
We figured out was every guy that owns a few good shotguns wears a nice watch.
Mm-hmm.
And so we just think it's, as we extend our brand here, it's like, hey, this makes a lot of sense. So we've had fun. Actually, my youngest son, Riley, who's come in to join us, knows the most about watches on the team, and it's kind of his thing that he's spearheading.
So, Andy, you have a nice Rolex.
I do.
You don't have a nice gun, though. You don't shoot a nice gun.
I've got a Super Black Eagle 1.
No, you're not a gun collector. You're just shooting a gun. I mean, you're going down to just a basic a sporting goods place and buying a gun off the shelf, but you're wearing a Rolex. He's trying to say this is a watch for gentlemen and the guns for gentlemen, like a Parker shotgun.
Oh yeah, I don't have a Parker.
So you're not into this.
No Parker.
Did you look up this Wimbledon watch?
It's a good looking watch.
What do they retail for?
John, go ahead. I don't know. Take me home, John.
The watches are cool, but you're wearing a nice timepiece on your left arm, I suspect.
Yes,
and
sir.
You go into the field with a Benelli, and Benellis or whatever, a Beretta, and one of these great high-tech guns that you shoot. And I've got 4 of them myself. But a few years ago, after we launched this, I bought my first side-by-side. And yesterday I shot a limit of dove with my 20 gauge side-by-side. And I will tell you, it's harder. But it's, in a weird way, it's a little bit more satisfying.
Really?
Yeah, it's really, because you show up and you pull that thing out and people want to know what it is. And it's just like people asking about your watch. It's like, hey, what kind of Rolex is that? You get a chance to talk about it. You get a chance to share a little bit of history. Maybe it's a Parker that was made in 1942 and who ordered it because it was lettered to that person. So you get this whole other opportunity to share the history of sporting. And again, that's what drives us. But I challenge you to do that. Buy a side-by-side or an over and under and go to the field. It's, you've shot thousands of limits of dove probably, but go do it with a vintage gun. It's a pretty cool experience.
Yes, it is, Andy.
Is your gun vintage, Jeff? Your Browning?
Yeah, I've got an over under Browning that was probably a 1972, 73. I love it. It's a great gun. I'm an over under guy anyways. I mean, I'm a poor redneck guy, but I've got a little class, I just don't like to show everyone that. So I've got a friend of mine that's been trying to get me to buy a Parker for a long time, and I just don't have the money to buy one, but they say they are awesome guns.
Jeff, that's kind of a reputation that they have, but like right now, if we're looking at the industry, what's going on in the shotgun world, 12 gauges are out of favor.
Yes.
Right? Everybody's going sub gauge because the shells are better and blah, 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 blah. You can buy a really nice Parker 12 gauge for $1,500.
Yeah, that's
much as you're going to spend on any other gun, or approximately. And it's going to be a used gun that's going to work well and shoot ducks, geese, dove, whatever you want. So don't be afraid to take a look. In fact, browse our app at bid.Guyette and Deeter. That'll show you all the Parkers in a row there, and all the, we do all the measurements, so you know what your length of pull is, and you drop at the heel and drop at the comb and the weight and all that stuff. But you can pick up a nice Parker 12 gauge for not much money today.
Does Parker have a 28 gauge? Because I love to shoot 28 gauge.
They do, but there you're going to talk a little bit of money.
How much?
3,500, 5,000.
A Parker reproduction that Remington made would cost you $7,000 to $12,000. A vintage Parker, probably in that same range, maybe more if the condition's good. If it's been refinished, which you wouldn't care about necessarily, you can get a great gun that's been refinished. It looks nice, but it may have lost its collectible value. But there's a lot of different ways to go, right? You get a gun that you really have to worry about the condition, or if you get one that's been used some, you don't have to worry about putting that first nick in the stock on it.
My friend Jeff Elder he shoots 28 gauges a lot, and he shoots over wooden decoys. And he's invited me to come hunting with him more than once, and I'm going to take him up on that just because I think it would be cool to hunt over old wooden decoys and shoot a Parker. I would like to do that. I may even put on some knickers and stuff and do it the old-fashioned way. But I think that would be really, really, really a pretty cool deal to do. So,
yeah.
What's the history on Parker guns? Tell me the history on these guns.
I will tell you, I'm not the gun expert. When we started this division, I went out and actually was friends with these guys anyway, but we hired two of the sharpest guys in the gun industry. Wes Dillon, who started the Cabela's Gun Room many years ago. Wes lives in Colorado. He comes in and helps us work our sales, and he's our advisor. And then Josh Lowensteiner lives in Charlotte. Josh is one of the country's top experts in shotguns. So those guys were really the brains behind the division. But Parker shotguns were made in Meridian, Connecticut. They were, at the time, probably you could argue Lefevre, but the best quality production shotgun made in the USA. And they made them with sort of, a lot of them are made with sort of what the Americans liked, as opposed to what the people in England were wanting, which was straight stock and beaver tail splintered forends. You'll see Parkers with pistol grips and beaver tail forends, which is more of an American style. But Parker was cool because you didn't go to a sporting goods store to buy your gun. You ordered it directly from Parker. So when Jeff, you ordered that Parker shotgun, it came to you with a letter saying, congratulations, you have ordered this Parker shotgun, and here are its specs from the factory. So today we have most of those factory letters. So if you buy a shotgun, you can, in all likelihood, get the letter of the specs when that gun was shipped to the person that ordered it from the factory, and what it cost.
That's badass.
So it was a gentleman's gun from the start.
For sure. We sold a Parker 12 gauge A1 special in our February auction for a little over $200,000. And it was lettered to a guy, I think I'll get this right, lettered to a guy in 1917. And at that time, it cost $900.
That's a ton of money back then.
Right. Yeah, it was to what you just said. It was a gentleman's gun from the start.
So I can't believe I've never got one of these.
Yeah, never at all. So this is the royal family was probably shooting Parkers then.
No, the royal family, if you're talking in England or the UK, they were probably shooting Holland and Holland, Purdy, or Boss.
Is what they were, the Holland and Holland's what they were shooting in. So
Those are the three sort of best quality. Best quality meaning um, they did not, shave any corners. This is made from the best of our ability, and no compromise is what it means. Sorry. So those would be the three guns that the kings shot and the families.
I love,
and they're still made today. I mean, you can go down to Holland and Holland has a store in New York and in Dallas. There's a guy in there, Guy Davies, who is a totally cool guy that runs both those stores here in the U.S. You can order a Holland and Holland gun made to your specs, and it's going to cost you, don't quote me, but $150,000 to $250,000, and you're going to wait about 18 months to get it.
Well, I love history, and I love American history more than anything, but I watched the show The Crown, which I really, really liked, and I'm not a big royal family, blue blood type of guy. I don't understand I appreciate the history of the royal family. I just don't give two craps about any of them. But I really enjoyed the parts where they would do they did a lot of hunting. That was a big part. Queen Elizabeth was a big hunter, and I really enjoyed them with the pheasant hunts and the way they hunted and stuff. And I always thought, well, could you imagine getting a gun that the royal family that somebody had at one time? And they're never going to leave the estate, but that would be an awesome treasure to have.
Yeah, over here in the U.S., like we're selling President Harrison's Parker in this sale. So it probably would have been a Parker, but like President Eisenhower had a pretty fancy Model 21, and it's actually in the museum, the NRA museum over in D.C. So I would guess if the people living over here in the States, yeah, would have been a Parker probably.
That is so interesting. So what kind of really cool stories you got on something new that you've picked up lately, decoy wise?
So I was racking my brain last week about some cool stories for you guys. Got a few. Not that this is totally cool, but this might apply to the big Honker audience. So Sean Mann, right, the Eastern Shoreman, he's in this area, and Sean's been, obviously multi-time world champion caller of goose calls and made his own calls. And somebody brought this call into the office a couple of weeks ago, and it's an early Sean Mann call,
the old Eastern Shoreman call,
right? But what's cool about this was, if I get this right, Sean turned these, he made them, and then he had to put his name on them, and he went to his sister, and she hand wrote the script on here, the Eastern Shoreman Sean Mann. And this is only found on somewhere between 12 and 18 calls. After that, he went to a water label sticker, which was smart. But this was one of the early handwritten calls. We sold one of these guys a few years ago, and it brought somewhere between, I think it seems like it was $7,500. So, my message to all you goose hunters out there is if you've got a Sean Mann goose call, go take a look at it. And this isn't the only one that has increased a lot in value. We've sold a number of Sean Mann calls sort of in the earlier stages of his call making that can bring quite a bit of money in the collectible market. And if you want to see what they can bring, again, you go to, there's a wealth of knowledge in our app. If you go to our app, which is bid.Guyette and Deeter, you key in Sean Mann and hit past sales, and you'll see, 30 calls there that have sold at various prices. And it's all based on the rarity within the scope of Sean Mann calls.
I've got one of those.
Just like that?
Yeah.
Just like that in my bag in there. I've got a bag that I've got some old calls in, and I've got an old Eastern Shoreman that Sean, I've known Sean forever. I don't know if that's signed by his wife, but or sister, but I'm gonna damn sure check it out. But I'm not gonna sell nothing I have anyways because I collect all my stuff.
But you might not. Stuff. You might take it out of your bag so you don't break it or wear it or wear the name off of it.
Yeah, I've got a trophy case in here. I've got a lot of old stuff in there, but I don't have any of the old flute calls in there. But I have some of them, And I'm
Yeah.
going to look and see if that's one of those.
Not to be morbid, but it's crazy that it's fetching that big of a price tag because Sean's still alive. You know what I mean? Like a lot of times the price drives up when these guys pass on.
And Sean appreciates
Sean's
that.
glad to still be alive, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. In fact, Sean was, saw Sean last week. He was up at the opener of a new sporting goods store, Molly's Sporting Goods Store, that just came to Easton, Maryland.
I saw that. That's a really nice store that they built.
Yeah. They've got their own Kuyu section, which I guess outside of all the Kuyu has 3 stores of their own. And this is the only one that's outside of the Kuyu business has a dedicated Kuyu section, I guess. Just have to explain that. But
So I'm looking at some of the guns right now. Several Parkers. Purdy was one of them.
yeah, so Purdy would be a best quality English gun, and they've been there forever. If you ever go to London, you got to go to the Purdy store. It's an amazing facility, and they've got some fantastic high art, well built guns there. And those guys have been making guns since, I don't know, 1600 or something like that, or maybe earlier. And then there's Holland, Purdy, and Boss would be the top 3.
I've said this forever. We've lost such a level of craftsmanship in the world today. Like you look at these guns and like they're all a work of art. When you look at the engravings and everything on them, you don't have that in the world today. I mean, even if you look at like an old building from 17, 18, and early 1900s, they had character and just incredible craftsmanship. And now it's just everything's a square gray box.
Andy, you're right. It's kind of fascinating, right? Like Holland, they used to be owned by Chanel, like a high-end brand company. Mm-hmm. But and I think Beretta just bought them. But Holland has this huge store or building where they make their guns. And do you know how many guns they produce a year?
Mm-mm.
It's something like, and I shouldn't say produce, how many guns they complete a year. It's like between 25 and 40.
Wow.
Right? Because each craftsman is specifically the master in one area, like maybe building a stock or engraving or shaving the barrels or whatever it is. And he spends all his time in that segment, and then it moves to the next guy. So that's why it takes so long if you go to the store and have one measured and built for your specs. And that's what, it costs a lot, but it's pretty amazing. So there is an area where we still have and appreciate craftsmanship. And you can do that, or you can search our catalog and buy a Purdy or a Boss or a Holland for about half or a third of what it might cost you to order one of those guns new.
Right. So even today, like sub gauges are carrying on all these vintage guns. People are wanting sub gauges.
Everything. Yeah. 12 gauges. If you like to shoot a 12 gauge, start buying them right now because they are down. The prices are suppressed from where they have been in the past. Yeah. You can get some really great values on 12 gauge shotgun.
Do you think the pendulum will ever swing back?
It might. I mean, I think the pendulum has swung from really short barrels on guns to more longer barrels right now. And it wouldn't surprise me if it doesn't, Yeah, wouldn't be surprised.
Boss shot shells is the reason you're seeing the huge surge in the sub gauges, because they completely changed that game with their loads. And that's made a big difference. When you started being able to shoot with a 410 or a 28 gauge and killing stuff again like you did when you could shoot lead back in the day, that's why people, I think, have ran to the 28 gauges more than anything.
I couldn't agree more.
And that's a great gun. I've got about 4 or 5 28 gauges, and I absolutely love them. I got a little Mossberg over under they sent me that I shoot a lot, and it is an amazing gun. And they are fun to shoot. And as you get older, for these young guys, I was talking to some guys at breakfast this morning. Them little young Thundercats, they're untouchable. The old men coming in are all straight. They shot a bunch yesterday, and their shoulders are hurting and their knees are hurting. And one of them old young guys, I said, don't laugh. I said, 30 years from now, that's going to be you if you're still alive, and you're going to be happy in 30 years to be able to do what these guys are doing. But as you get older, those sub gauges are nice on the shoulders.
Well, they're nice on the shoulders, and if you're quail hunting or upland hunting, they weigh 5 pounds versus 7 or 8 pounds.
Yes, I didn't think about that way, but that is exactly right. But
yeah, it's a big difference.
But Brandon Serecki is the big reason a lot of people are shooting sub gauges now because of Boss shot shells. It changed all of that.
Great company. I love shooting those shells.
Oh, they're great dudes. We shot their new Dove loads yesterday, the unleaded, and it's crazy. It's such a good shell.
So the same kind of impact they've changed with the shells.
Yes, it's a steel shot, but we're gonna get to a place, and I've had a lot of debate over this. Eventually, the whole country is gonna have to go to shooting no talks everywhere. Lead shells are gonna be out in 10 years everywhere. Every state, it's gonna be a federal rule, and everybody's gonna have to shoot it. And they've got a new steel Dove load out that's amazing. You can shoot, and it's 7s and 8s, but you could shoot ducks with them. They got the same knockdown power that Boss has and everything.
Yeah, what's the speed on that load?
Well, don't give me the line to you. I could probably go look at a box. Let me go. I'll get it. Yeah, I'll get a box.
Huh? I think it's 13.75. He's gonna go get a box right now.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. I've not shot the Boss Dove loads, but definitely their duck loads have changed the industry.
1350.
Oh yeah, so that's quick.
Well, and you could get back to where you could bring out. It was safe to run your grandpa's gun with their loads. You know what I mean?
Right.
I don't know if you can with the steel though.
No. But I mean,
with the bismuth, yes.
With their early line, that was kind of what you could take out grandpa's shotgun again.
Yes, and shoot it again. But it's 1350 is on the shells on the 20s and 12s.
And what's the deal on their bismuth this year? I heard they were price was up so much.
There's not going to be any. There ain't going to be any more bismuth. Bismuth, and for anybody, there's not going to be any bismuth. If 18 months, you won't be able to buy bismuth anywhere. And Boss has got a new War Chief shell going to come out this fall. Hopefully, with everything done, they got to go through all the government bullshit and red tape like everybody else does. And they've got a new copper load that's going to come out that's going to revolutionize everything. Because he's a mad scientist, and he's come up with some new science and stuff where it's going to have the same impact as the bismuth and be faster.
Wow, great! That's great. So we'll all stay in sub gauges. So what'd you guys think about this?
I didn't get to look at it. We were at the Canada Goose Museum, and there was a line to look at the book, so I just passed.
Yep. Well, we'll have to get one in your hands down there. Where's Katie when we need her?
Right. Yeah, exactly. But no, I wanted to look, and there were several people talking to the lady, and I just like, we had a 9-hour drive. Like we were about to leave. We were about to head back to Texas, and I didn't even get to look at it.
That is amazing. Have you been to it, the new display?
So I was supposed to be down there that night. What was that, Thursday night, I think? And we were in terrible weather here in the Baltimore. We sat at the airport for 7 hours and never left.
I had a trip like that this year.
Yeah, after 5 years of working on this project, it was really it kicked my butt to not be able to make the opening exhibit.
You know what? I loved every bit of that whole exhibit. And then for everybody that's listening that don't know, it's the Canada Goose exhibit at the Ducks Unlimited Wildfowl Heritage Museum, right? Is that what it's called? Or Waterfowl Heritage Museum?
Waterfowl Heritage, yep.
At the Pyramid at Bass Pro in Memphis. My favorite thing, I think, of everything in there was the print that's in front of the chair that I sat and looked at forever. And I don't know why, but it's a painting, but I could picture myself being in there. It just told a story to me. It reminded me of being a kid. I don't know what it reminded me of, but it just mesmerized me. But that whole exhibit is absolutely amazing.
Yeah, took years to put together with, thoughtful collection of the duck decoys, and then all the, like you said, the paintings and the early advertising, the shotgun shell boxes, the goose calls. Tim Peterson did a fantastic job putting this together, and I think that working with DU was a great partnership to create something that's never been done before, right? Like where I live here in the Eastern Shore, goose season is coming up, and everybody is pissed off that they can only kill one goose for 30 days. Mm-hmm. It's like, well, there's plenty of geese around here. Why can't I kill more than that? I don't know. Who's screwing us? And this book, Mark Petrie, explains all that if you'll take the time to read it, right? So here in Maryland, we have 3 different kinds of geese that land right here, not 300 miles south, not 200 miles north, but right here. You've got the North Atlantic population, the Atlantic population, and the resident geese, which do migrate, I think as much as 600 miles, these residents do. But so they're all here in the winter. And the reason we can only kill one goose is we're trying to protect the gene pool of the Atlantic and the North Atlantic. Yeah, there's plenty of resident geese around. We should be able to shoot, 5 a day. But they're trying to, in this area, we have to protect those 2 other gene pools. And it's quite confusing to people because white-cheeked geese look like they're all the same. But the way our scientists look at that, there's really 14 different gene pools across the country, and they have to be managed differently. So it's a pretty complex topic. But this book, if you'll take the time to read it, you'll be a lot smarter about the Canada goose and how they're managed.
Now, when did it go down to 1?
2 seasons ago.
And before that, was it 2?
Yeah, I think we've bounced between 1 and 2. And remember, I don't know if you remember back in I think it was the early 2000s, there was a moratorium on the Canada goose here.
Yeah, they closed the season, right?
Yeah. So we've struggled, and then it just gets to 2, and then it goes to 1, and then maybe they're going to close it and they bring it back to 1. So it's and then I guess what you got to decide is that we just let evolution take care of those 2 gene pools, or do we protect them?
Right.
And that's for people on a different payroll.
Yeah, that's a tough subject because it's like, like you said, what do we do with it? Like, do we just let it go by the way of the dodo birds, or, because like you said, there's plenty of resident Canada geese. Are they going to go out anyway? For 20 years, we've been protecting these 2 subspecies of Canada goose, and evidently hadn't made a difference.
Yeah, exactly. But the book is awesome in the fact that it combines this understanding of goose management with a section of genre that I particularly love, which is the collectible side. So it blends in Canada goose decoys and the history of hunting the goose and the makers of the decoys by Flyway with the current management of the geese by Flyway. There's never been anything put together like it. It's a great book. The goose exhibit is at the Pyramid right now for 1 year, and it's Tim Peterson's collection. And then it's going to travel to the Peoria Museum, Lakefront Peoria Museum, and then it'll go to the Shelburne Museum in Vermont, and then it's probably going to come to the Havre de Grace Museum 3.5 years from now.
That's a cool place too. I just sent you a text. What's the story on that print right there? I saw that in that museum.
What print?
It's a lithograph. I don't know what you call it. It's in that collection.
Yeah, it's a ink drawing, a contemporary ink drawing of just using silhouettes in the field.
Who's the artist of that? Do you know?
I don't know, and I know lots and lots of these artists, and I do not know. This was these images were made for this book.
I love that print right there, and I would love to. I'm gonna do a shirt like that, a T-shirt like that.
Which one do you like? The guy shooting the bird in, or
I like both of them. Just one of those. Yeah. I'm gonna do a T-shirt with, and I love that. I'm gonna hawk some form of that and have a shirt made out of that. But that's another one of my favorite things in that exhibit. It's little things like that mean so much to me. I don't know why, the decoys and everything, but that print, that's that second print that I liked.
Yeah, I mean that's what this other stuff is about, right? Like, so in the season we're focused on getting out, getting into the blind, hunting ducks, all that camaraderie. But if you put some cool artwork around your house, Jeff, just like you just said, you've got that print or that etching or watercolor or oil painting above your fireplace, you can look at it, and for 20 or 30 minutes, it just takes you away, right? It takes you right back to that.
Yeah, it reminds me of something of my younger years. I really, really, really enjoy that stuff. And I'll catch myself now as I'm getting older. I'll be on the road somewhere, and I'll stop and I'll sit and look at something, and it bring back a lot of memories. Like I dropped some guys off in a cornfield today to dove hunt, and I was there, and I thought I did one of my first goose hunts on that field when I was guiding still way before I met Michelle, way before me and Tony really, it was our first year in business. So 33, 34 years ago, I did a hunt there on December 23rd, right before Christmas. And I can remember the clients that I had. I remember all the details of that day. But when I go to that field, and I drive by that field 1,000 times during waterfowl season, but something today made me think about that.
Isn't that awesome?
Yeah. And I thought I set up right by this field right here. Never would have my life dreamed that my life would turn out the way it did. And a lot of it started right there in that field this morning where I was at. Just crazy.
If that picture helps take you back there, then make a shirt or put it in your house and enjoy it.
Yeah, just certain things bring me back. But I just, that whole exhibit, I've been to Havre de Grace and I like all the old waterfowl stuff, but that Canada goose deal really, really got to me because that was my life basically encompassed in a museum, basically a lot of parts of it. Because there was an old Tim Grounds half-breed call. I've got 2 of the old Tim Grounds half-breed calls still here that he signed for me years ago, or they're he signed them with a engraver of some sort, not a hand deal, just with an engraver, but the original call from, I'm guessing 1993, 94, probably 92 maybe, but just really
Stick them in that collectible cabinet.
Oh, I'll never ever get rid of any of that kind of
It's
stuff.
probably in that bag with the Sean Mann call getting kicked every time somebody walks in there.
No, it's put up where nobody's gonna mess with it. I can't put no more stuff in there. I
do have a couple other cool stories. That I thought the call would be fun. So last week I went up to visit a gentleman guy's 98 years old, and he's been an outdoorsman his entire life, both competitive fishing and hunting. Still doing both actually at 98. It was really this totally cool guy. And he bought some decoys early on, and he didn't actually even remember where or exactly when, but he thinks he bought a couple of duck decoys on a fishing trip to Ocean City, Maryland, maybe in the 70s. And so he sent me pictures of these, and obviously I wanted to go there as soon as I saw the pictures. But anyway, we arranged for a time to meet, and this is a duck that he bought out of an antique shop in Ocean City, Maryland, sometime in the 70s. So 50 years ago, right? Mm-hmm. This decoy was made by Nathan Cobb Jr. on Cobb Island, Virginia, which at the time would have had this great guest house. You could book fishing trips and hunting trips in 1880 and go there and hunt. And you would have hunted over one of Nathan Cobb's decoys. And they're fabulous, well-made decoys. This is one of just a handful of buffleheads in original paint by him. And I don't know if you can see, there's an N carved, and the N would signify Nathan Cobb Jr. made that decoy. And I don't know what he paid for it. He might have paid a few $100s for it in the 70s, which would have been quite a bit of money. But we're going to sell this decoy in our November auction, and the pre-auction estimate will be something like $60,000 to $90,000.
Wow!
Right, and it came with. So we bought 2 decoys that day. Second was again a Nathan Cobb hollow, 2-piece hollow body, redhead drake. It's got the N carved in the underside. And this bird is right out of the field. Can you see the twine wrapped around the bill?
Yes.
Yeah. So the bill broke or was stressed, and somebody literally just took twine and wrapped it around the bill to keep the bill together, which is a field make do, which I personally really love. And this should sell for $30,000 to $60,000.
Wow.
So something like the field make do, does that increase the value? Because to me, that's what kind of sets that decoy apart. You know what I mean?
Like a lot of character.
The character of it.
So I'm with you, and that's how I feel. Not everybody feels that way. Some people would say, well, it's got bill damage.
Yep.
And unfortunately, somebody might even buy this and have that taken off and have bill repaired. But to me, if I owned this decoy, I'd leave it just like that, because I think it tells a story. It's a part of its history. And pretty awesome. I love it just the way it is. I was so excited to see these decoys because when we get, let's face it, the internet's been around quite a while. We've been around quite a while. To get decoys that are important and fresh to the market is becoming more rare. And so these will cause quite a bit of excitement in the November sale, which is in conjunction with the Easton Waterfowl Festival.
Have you come up with any, like great grandpa died and we're going through an attic and we found a dozen decoys? Does that happen much anymore?
Yeah, it still does. And that's exactly what it is, but it's mostly, great grandpa died and he had some decoys and he thought they were worth something, and they'll send us pictures and we'll, kind of decipher. It's like, oh yeah, that's good. Or no, they're sort of all repainted, reheaded decoys, which are, just give them away as presents is what I tell people. If you need to sell them, fine. No, we don't, it's hard to get rid of $15 to $25 decoys.
Right.
And there's lots and lots of them.
Well, I wish I could remember when we were talking to David at Ducks Unlimited, he was talking about one of the rare decoys that they had for their Into the Vault sale. And I can't remember exactly what it was.
I think it was going to them.
Maybe.
Yeah, it was a Mitchell Fulcher bluebill hen. So North Carolina carver, a North Carolina carver that has been identified as, top tier in demand. And in our July auction, we sold something that had been given to DU, and I think it brought $17,000. So that money goes right back. So that's a little program that we have initiated with Ducks Unlimited, and it's called Consign to Conserve, right? So if let's say you're at the highest level, let's say you're a President's Council DU member, so you're given $10,000 a year, and maybe it's like not a great year with your company, and you can come up with 5 cash, but you want to hit that $10,000 number. What we're encouraging people to do is look around. Do you have some nice custom knives? Do you have a Rolex? Do you have some good decoys or a fine gun that you're not using? And send it to us. We've partnered with DU to give them a really awesome deal when we sell things. We sell that, and then the money goes straight to DU in your name.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, the program it's worked very well. In our last sale, we raised I think it was $42,000 for the ducks.
So most of these old decoys that you're getting, like I watched Charlie Job at the Ducks Expo, was carving and painting decoys right in his booth, and I don't know what he sells a hand carved decoy for, $300-400 probably.
Yeah, probably.
And people are buying these, and you think those decoys that you have right now that were built or made in the 40s, 50s, 30s, 20s, whatever, those guys were doing that to put meat on the table.
Yeah, they were just tools. It was no different than making a shovel, right, or a hammer.
Right.
Just needed these things to exist. And the only reason you put your name on them was ownership in case they got washed ashore. It wasn't because you're signing a decoy like Charlie does, or many of the contemporary makers.
That's funny.
Exactly right. Like here's I brought another pair of like really crazy decoys. This is
oh wow.
Yeah, that's a
American Merganser.
Red breast. Well, this pair of red-breasted Mergansers. Here we go. And this pair of decoys was made in Cape May, New Jersey.
Cool town.
1890 or something like that. They're hollow with these crazy crests. Really, you can see how thin that is.
Uh-huh.
It's really, and Bill Mackey, one of the guys that wrote the first books on duck decoys in 1964, put these decoys in his book, and then so did Quintina Colio in another book about 1968. And so they've had a pretty good life starting out. And then they were, David Rockefeller acquired these decoys, and David Rockefeller kept these in his decoy collection until Christie's sold the David Rockefeller collection. It would have been in 2019, I think it was. And this pair brought $225,000 at that sale of the Rockefeller.
Can you imagine that poor sucker that carved that was dying, starving to death, trying to make a living, and his decoys are going for $225,000. I mean, that's just Yeah, I guess that's kind of like Van Gogh as a painter. I don't think he ever had a damn dime till he died.
And we don't even know who made those. They're unknowns, but they've just got that. They just achieved such a high level of art with that crazy crest and the fact that they're hollow. And then, yeah, they're great. But you're right. You know, like the Ward brothers sort of died. I wouldn't say penniless, but certainly not wealthy people. And they made thousands of decoys. And today, you know, Ward brother decoys can sell no problem getting over six figures with those. Had they seen one of those, that they'd be living high hog in Crisfield, Maryland.
Did Rockefeller have a pretty cool collection?
Yeah, David Rockefeller had 50 decoys or 60 decoys or something like that. Yeah, he had a pretty stand-up collection that was sold. Again, as part of I think the Rockefeller sale went for over a week. My wife and I, a lot of times when Christie's or Sotheby's gets a decoy collection, because we're decoy experts, they'll ask us to come in and assist with the sales. So my wife and I were working the phones at the Rockefeller sale, and the decoys were supposed to be sold at 7 p.m. on Friday night. The sale, because there was such worldwide demand, it was going slow. We ended up getting to the decoys at 1 a.m. And so we're calling our customers to see if they want to bid on these decoys at 1 a.m. And I remember we were walking home from the Christie's auction house at 3 a.m. that night thinking, what a crazy experience that was. But I'll never forget it. It was really fun to be able to help out, and they're a great organization, and it was an honor to help them. And now we have these decoys back. They were bought by a guy that just passed away. So we're gonna feature those in our November auction.
What is like you hear about art heist all the time? Is there some hot decoys that have been stolen that are out floating around that you know of?
No, you know, if you steal a decoy, it's a pretty, while they don't have serial numbers and stuff on them, it's a pretty close collecting group. So even if you sold it to somewhere, it's going to pop up. It'd be a tough thing to what do they call that? Fencing, right? It'd be a tough thing to turn it into cash and sell it for much money. So the decoy community really remains a good collecting community. People are social. It's different. Decoys are, it's pretty fun, Jeff and Andy. I was writing something the other day, and I was talking about the market. I would say old wooden duck decoys have survived better as a collectible over the last 5 to 7 decades than any other segment that I'm aware of.
I can see that.
Yeah.
And I think that's because decoys are, people that collect decoys are very social, right? So they come, we have these auctions and they come to our previews. There may be 200, 300, 400 people at these previews. They stay for the sales. We feed everybody. There are at least 100 decoy shows around the country a year. There's magazines, the Canvasback magazine, Duck Decoys, the Decoy magazine, lots of books, museums. So there's all this sort of ground support for decoys and collecting decoys that it really gives people lots of social experiences, and all of that has just kept them at the top of the collectible list. It's a lot of fun, and you know, not everybody is a waterfowler, but a lot of people are, and we all get together and we're there for one common bond, which is the decoy.
So talk the Lovelock Lake decoys. I think that's right. Yeah, the one that the decoys that they found in Nevada, 2,000 years old. Have those ever been sold or something like that? Does that go straight to the state?
Yeah, so I think you've got them in this. There may be one at the Shelburne Museum, and then they're also in the Smithsonian.
So how does that work? Like state officials found them, so they go to the state or they go to the Smithsonian?
I guess. I wish I knew. All I know, Andy, is that they're in every book that talks about decoy. They sort of start out with that, right? Because those were the earliest known decoys. I mean, that's before they had guns, right? And so you're got those decoys out. What are you doing? You're catching them by the legs, I guess. I Yeah, pretty cool though. I mean, they made them, they colored the heads red and made them look like canvasbacks.
It's weird how the government gets her paws and shit. It's kind of like whoever wins this $1 billion lottery. The government's the big winner.
You get half of it.
I mean, or more probably. I mean, they're going to tax you twice. If you take the cash option, you're going to get double whammied on the deal. But you're going to win $1 billion and you're going to get 450 million, and you're going to be ecstatic as hell about it. I know I would be.
God, that reminds me, I need to buy my ticket today.
I told my youngest son last night, I said, I hope to hell somebody wins this. It's $100 every 3 days to me. I won between me and him, we bought $300 in tickets. We won $7.
Good for you.
Good for me.
What are you going to do with your money?
What?
Your $7. Reinvest it?
Hell, I don't even know. But I mean, it's just crazy the amount of money. But the government's the big benefactor of this. So these decoys, someone found some decoys, and I don't know the whole story on who found them in a cave. And I don't know if it was a state employee or not. But if you go off the coast of Florida and you find a big gold treasure, the government's going to get most of that too.
Yeah.
I mean, they got you by the balls.
I think it was a scientific, probably state funded.
Well, then then I understand them keeping it. But if you go out in your backyard and you uncover some loot from the Civil War,
but that's what I was getting at. Like when does an artifact become so rare that it goes to the Smithsonian rather than it's yours to do with what you want with?
That would be my luck if I found something. Oh, we're taking that and putting the Smithsonian. Whoa, I'd like my $1 million out of the deal.
Right.
Well, that's an interesting topic too, because, museums, there are lots of museums around the country that have duck decoys, but they never use them. Like I've been to the Henry Ford Museum. I knew they had a great collection of decoys. So 10 years ago, I called again, finally got a call back and said, hey, I'd like to come visit your decoy collection. And then I think I got delayed again. And so finally I got an appointment set up so I could go to the Henry Ford Museum in Dearborn, Michigan, view their decoy collection. I got there really excited, and they said, well, okay, this is going to cost you $150. What? $150. You've got to pay for a curator to be with you and an assistant. And this gives you access for 1 hour. So I write out a check for $150. We go in there. They start pulling out shelves of decoys, great decoys. There are two people there with white gloves on, which I get it. I'm okay with that. I'm not allowed to touch anything. All I can do is point to what I would like them to pick up and hold in front of me. And quite frankly, it was the most miserable experience I've ever had. I was so pissed off when I walked out of there. And here it's like, why are you even keeping this great collection if this is how you're going to treat it? So that's why we really like museums like what Katie has there at the Waterfowl Heritage Museum, or Peoria, or the Shelbourne, or the Havre de Grace Museum, because they're proud of their decoy collection. They show it. They're decoy collectors that manage and make decisions at the museum. But a lot of the museums around the country, and they just get those things donated to them, and they just stuff them in boxes and never show them.
That's sad.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
I mean, you've got all this history that you're just sitting on.
Right.
And you got to pay $150 to watch somebody with white gloves turn it around for you.
I need to go back and see if they've changed that at all, but it was pretty disappointing.
What has there, since the last time we talked to you, has there been something that's come through where you're like, holy shit, we found it?
Well, what's happening now in the decoy market, if you collect decoys, there's no better time to start. And what I mean by that is sort of our founding fathers built these great decoy collections. Alan Haid, Russ Goldberger, Ted Harmon, Lloyd Griffith, these great early collectors who have had decoys in their collections that have never been offered on the market before. And these guys now are just in this generational turnover, where they're in their late 80s, 90s. Their decoys are coming to market. Last year we sold Alan Haid's collection. Alan was author of Mason Decoy Book. He was author of Decoys of the Mississippi Flyway, and I would say he was the smartest person about duck decoys in the country, And we sold his collection over 2 sales for $6.2 million.
Whoa.
About 135 pieces in total.
Shit.
Yeah. It was, so that's kind of what's happening now that's exciting, as opposed to, an attic find or something like that. It's these great collections with, objects that Alan and Elaine Haid had bought privately in the early 70s. And so it's there's some fantastic decoys coming to market, and we're seeing the market growing. We're seeing new participants all the time on our weekly auctions, which close every Thursday night. We sell 70 items, and we may sell duck calls, goose calls, custom knives, duck decoys, fish decoys, just all kind of in that same genre. Every Thursday night, those sales start to close. But every Thursday, we have new people get on, put a credit card in, create an account, and buy something. And that's pretty refreshing, that every week there's new people, and we don't know how they found us, but they're getting on and buying things.
What do you see the future for, like what we talked about, Charlie Job earlier? A Charlie Job decoy that he carves now, and he carves them all the time, the same work that they put into it back in the old days. What's the market for something like that 50 years from now? Do you see it being like it is now, or do you think it will just be more, since people collect now and hold on to stuff more, a saturated market?
Well, I think, what number do you use? 50 years?
Yeah, 50 years from now.
Right. Let's say in 50 years, if there's still or let's just say in 15 years, if there are more people in the earth or in the United States, and there are more people that have exposure to hunting, sporting art, and things like that, then theoretically we may have more collectors. And that's the trend that we're on now. We are seeing more collectors coming in. So that could have an impact on Charlie's prices. What also impacts Charlie's prices is his supply. And Charlie's a pretty prolific maker. Right. And he's a great guy, so people want to own his decoys, and that's what's helping his price structure now. If he were to stop making decoys today, I would say prices would rise faster than if he continues to make whatever the number is, 1,000 decoys a year.
Right.
But don't ever get rid of those I have in there.
Right. No, that makes sense. Why do you think that there's new collectors now? Do you think it's my generation, the 30-year-old, mid 30s, they're finally getting a little bit of money and stability that they can?
You start to, when did you buy your Rolex watch?
Last year.
Okay. So you're at this point where it's like, wow, things are pretty good. I've got this podcast, this hunting guiding business, and I finally want to do something for myself.
Right.
You buy a nice watch. It's that same thing. These are, all this is stuff we don't have to have. So you got to take care of your kids, maybe college educations, house, cars, all those other obligations that you got to do to be balanced in life. And then you get to a point somewhere between 35 and 50 where it's like, you kind of want to buy myself some things once in a while.
Mm-hmm.
And now that person will stay with us. Let's say a new collector comes in at age 50. We see them staying with us until literally they die.
Right.
Because collecting keeps your brain healthy. It gives you something to do. You can pick up the phone and call other people that collect. It keeps you socially involved. And it's really a good thing. And as you get into their 70s and 80s, maybe your other friends are passing away, maybe your spouse has passed away, but collecting something and keeping your brain sharp is a very healthy thing to do. And so that's on the back end of it. And Andy, what I would say is, yeah, it's new guys coming in, and within the decoy world, one of the trends we see or are seeing is the contemporary market is hot as heck.
Mm-hmm.
In contemporary market, I mean, decoys carved in the last 20, 30 years by people like Jobs, there's a lot of them. Sean Sutton, Cameron McIntyre, Mark McNair, Marty Hansen, Ben Heineman. There's all these really good decoy makers out there making objects for under 5,000 and many times much less than that. But you don't have to worry about knowing whether it's been repainted or if the head's been broken off and reset or the bill's been reset. You don't have to worry about the condition issues you have to worry about with vintage decoys. And you have the benefit of getting to know the makers, right? So you can call these makers, you can order something directly from them. Maybe you want a pair of shovelers, maybe you want a swan. And that's starting to happen. And contemporary market prices are strong. And that's great. So we see that as a very positive trend as well.
Are the number of artifacts that I'll call them artifacts, or the number of things that you have to sell, is that also rising because of the age of America? You know, I'm thinking like grandpa, 80 years old, they had a lot of stuff, and there's getting to be more and more of those guys.
Well, 4 years ago, we bought a 6,000 square foot building in St. Michael's, Maryland. And I remember putting the shelving all together in one January thinking, my God, we're never going to fill this building. And if you were to come visit us now, and I'd encourage anybody to stop in Monday through Friday, 9 to 5, we are full. Mm-hmm. And it's duck decoys, but that's been the launch of the gun division as well. But yeah, there's a lot coming to market, and we are a great trading venue for people that want to sell stuff, putting together people that want to buy stuff, because it comes into us. We're going to give it a guaranteed condition report. We're going to say it's original paint, structurally good, and if we're wrong, we'll give you your money back. So we vet the things,
yeah,
and then we sell them. Very much unlike eBay or, small auction houses that don't know what they're selling. If you're buying it from us, you're getting what we say it is. And it makes it a very safe trading place.
Yeah. And that generation was a pack rat. Like, they didn't throw shit away.
No, because they went through the Depression.
Well, yeah, the parents definitely did.
Yeah, well, yeah, it would be the parents now. On my feed, I've got a lot of people that write in Arabic because I don't understand what the hell they say, but I've got a bunch of people from Pakistanis and all that waterfowl hunt, and they follow me on social media and stuff. Have you gotten into those guys that collect? Because waterfowl hunting's big with some of them rural families over there.
It's funny. I get some of that on my Facebook. I have a Facebook just for the company as well, and I get some of that. I have no idea what it's about, whether it's legit or people trying to, promote their own agenda. No, the answer is we don't have anybody from Saudi Arabia buying decoys, and I'm kind of glad, because I would hate to see these great decoys leave America and maybe never come back.
That's what I was thinking right there too, because they could afford to go in and buy an entire collection of Rockefellers or whatever, and nobody would ever see it again.
No, it wouldn't be any good. And what is great is that the trading, and it stays here and recycles over time. People buy them, keep them for 35, 40 years, and then maybe they come back on the market. And that's pretty healthy.
Because I'd seen a show. There used to be a series on Netflix about a guy does the same type thing you do, but he does sports memorabilia and stuff.
Sure.
And he had a client that was in the Saudi family, and they were buying jerseys and stuff, and they were gobbling up all this stuff, and damn well it's never ever going to be seen again.
Good chance. Yeah. Now, we don't have that. We have a few clients that live outside London. Certainly great Canadian representation, but everything else is pretty much shipped within the States. And once in a while, we'll send a decoy to another country in Europe, but it's pretty rare.
Well, waterfowl hunting is American tradition in American history. I know they do it over in England and some places, and they've done it in Canada, but it is an American deal. And when you want to look it up, you go to the Eastern Shore where you're at, and you go to the Illinois area and stuff like that. And that's where a lot of tradition and the old duck clubs and stuff are, along the Mississippi River too. And that's what makes it an amazing thing.
Well, access to public land, in the UK, the rich people own the land, and they didn't let, and they owned the game, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So we've had a far different, much different approach to it out here.
That's exactly right.
So when are the dates for your November sale? Oh, it's in conjunction with Easton.
No, so it's roughly November 15th. And you guys, you're too busy to come out here for that, right?
Yeah.
We've been every year. We were good. Boss goes every year. They have a booth there. We were going to go, but we're swamped. We can't do nothing from September 1st till the end of January. It's no vacations, no nothing. It's work.
Yeah, I understand that. It's too bad. So the Waterfowl Festival is just this awesome event, right? It's the largest waterfowl festival of its kind. It's right here, Easton, Maryland. For that, we hold a 2-day decoy and sporting art auction. But I think last year the numbers were somewhere in the 30,000 people that came and attended the Waterfowl Festival. The Waterfowl Festival turns around, raises money, donates it to conservation. It's just a fantastic event. It sort of shows off this place that we live. Everybody's there having fun, walking around, drinking a beer, eating crab cake sandwiches, listening to music, come over to the decoy auction. It's just a great event. Yeah, great event. Sorry you guys can't make it.
I would love to go up there. The Eastern Shore of Maryland is one of the most beautiful places in our country. It reminds me of being in the South. It really does. It's a lot of big, what do they call them houses? Not antebellum houses. What's the big plantation homes? A lot of plantation type houses. I love it. There's a whole lot more to Maryland outside of Baltimore is what I'm trying to tell everybody.
Oh boy, you get over to this side. It's exactly right. Yeah, it's very rural, and you say I tell somebody I'm in the business of dealing with duck decoys. Well, they know what a duck decoy is over here. And we have found too, which is fun with the sporting arms business, there were a lot of really good guns bought and used over here. This wealthy people have been coming here to hunt geese and ducks for generations.
Yeah, when I was a kid, the Eastern Shore of Maryland was the most famous goose hunt in the United States. Was to go to the Eastern Shore of Maryland, and it's a beautiful, beautiful place. I'm not a fan of Baltimore at all, but the Eastern Shore, two completely different places. You can't even get a country music station when you go to Baltimore. You have to be on the Eastern Shore.
You need to come over here. I'd love to take you around, even if you come after January. It'd be fun to show you around, Jeff. We've got.
I would love to do that. Me and Michelle will have to take you up on that. John, we appreciate you being on here. I know you got a lot going on today. Andy's got to get to the airport. When's the gun auction? Is next weekend?
September 11th and 12th. If anybody wants a catalog, call our office at 440. I'm sorry, I'm about to give out my cell phone number. Which I don't have any trouble doing. Call our office. It's Guyette and Deeter, and website's guyetteanddeeter.com. And I don't ever.
You don't call the office
here, but call the office, and we will give you a complimentary catalog. And I'm going to give you the number here: 410-745-0486. Give us your name and address, mention this podcast, and we'll mail you a $45 300-page gun catalog for our next event.
Oh, nice.
I look through every time I get them. I look all through them, and I think, man, I'm an underachiever in life.
Just got to hit that Powerball, baby.
Yep.
That's not true. Take a look at those Parker 12 gauges, Jeff. You can get a great value, and you'll get something taken the field. And then keep an eye on the 28s. There may be something in there that fits your price point.
I'm going to tell Michelle for Christmas that I want a Parker. Yeah, that's what I'm going to tell her I want for Christmas. John, I appreciate you, my friend, and I will see you eventually. Are you going to go to Turkey? Are you going to go to the Turkey convention in Nashville?
I'm trying to get that on my schedule, and I think we're going to be there.
Good deal. We'll be at the Boss booth. Come by and see us, my friend.
Okay.
Hey,
take care, guys.
John, God bless you and have a great day, my friend. Thank you, sir.
Thanks so much. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
One of the most interesting guys in the waterfowl world.
100%.
I love this guy. He's so cool. I love that catalog. I look through it all the time. I'm thinking, man, I sure am poor.
Take them up on that. No, give them a call. They'll send you a free catalog, normally $45. Take them up on that.
Yep. You will be glad you did. A lot of things to look at.
If nothing else, you can have something to look through while you're taking a dump.
Yep. I appreciate you for
Give you something to dream about, like Jeff said.
Yep.
You realize you're an underachiever, maybe it'll light a fire under your ass.
Hopefully it will.
Get you a Parker.
Yeah. Yep. Get you one. I'm going to get me one.
You know how good I'd look with this Rolex with a Parker?
And wear your little dabber little suit to guide.
Pow.
Be nothing like you in Knox City, that's for sure.
Pow.
All right.
Right in the kisser.
Thank y'all for listening to us. God bless you. Have a great week, my friends. Be safe. Bye.
Goodbye. Check out all of our sponsors. Go check out Stanfield Outfitters, we got a couple dates available. Mallard Bay, Mitchell Chevrolet, Mossberg, Lucky Duck, Looking Glass Podcast, Shin Gear. Shin Gear just released all their fall line. Everything in there is fantastic. Dirty Duck Coffee, Ducks Unlimited, Dive Bomb Industries, Pacific Calls. We got a promo code BHP25. And Boss Shot Shells. Call Guyette and Deeter, get you a catalog.